always dirty. Never judge a book by a clean cover. Never be afraid to see the unseen. NAFTA, NASA, NATO, Magna Carta, Hammurabi, Caesar, Mao, St. Tongue, and Mandela. Let my people go.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. It is a little bit cloudy over here in my part of the world, but I still see the light. I still see it. I hope this message finds you in good health, good spirits, and good posture. That's always important to have a good, good posture. Keep your back on point. You know what I mean? So anyway, what's everybody doing today? What y'all doing? What are you doing? That's my day off, so I ain't got nothing else to do. So I figured I'd bug y'all for a little bit. There we go. A little better. Yeah. My street's kind of busy today for some reason. Oh yeah, kids are back in school. So yeah, got a lot of stuff going on in the world, and it's only we're only 6 days in. Niggas getting arrested, all kinds of stuff. It is crazy. It is crazy. People getting arrested, getting their wives throwing their wives in jail. Like, yeah, I don't know all the details, but if you know, you know. But that's not for this. That's kind of is because I want to talk about leadership. I want to talk about leadership. What makes a good leader? So, what are some qualities that you would consider that are qualities that make a good leader? That's part of your that's part of the interactive portion of this video for the day. Write down in the comments. Just it don't have to be big, big thing. Just one or two things, one or two word qualities that you think exemplify good leadership. Okay. And we'll see if I can cover some of that in this video. I probably will, but I always like to see surprises, and I don't know everything. So, might be some stuff I leave out. But anyway, like people tend to follow bad leadership when someone is confident. You've done it. I've done it. We all do it. We all follow bad leadership from time to time. It just happens. And, once you realize, like, oops, sometimes we tend to make better choices at that point. But I saw this quote from Deion Sanders. I posted it earlier. I don't know if it made its way around, but I'm gonna repeat it. That's why you got to be careful who you call a role model, because some of these models out here playing roles. Prime time. Deion Sanders said that. Quoted him on a video, literally watched it come out of his mouth. That's my source. So, people follow bad leadership if they're confident. And what's one thing about models in general that we all know, people, they portray confidence, right? They portray confidence. Ugly models out here making like millions of dollars. Ignorant leaders out here making millions of dollars. Got people running all behind them, falling off the cliff like lemmings in Edie Pied Piper and fucking orange people skin town. Whew. Excuse my language. I'm gonna start trying to cuss less. We'll see how that goes. But I think Deion Sanders makes a big point. Use your discernment. Watch what they say. Watch what they do. Does it match up? You know what I mean? Like, what do other people think of them? People whose opinions you would actually consider useful. There's a lot of things to consider when you figure out who to follow or, what path to follow based on who's there already. What did they do ahead of you? Like there's and a lot of the times we do follow leadership blindly. We do because it's confident, and sometimes if you really want to be honest, they say the stuff we don't want to say. They say the stuff that we're thinking, but we don't say it. So yeah, of course, you're going to have somebody be a voice for you, right? The elected leaders, that's all they are. There are voices. That's who they are. And that's why it's important that we monitor and we vet these, we do a better vetting process, of making sure that the people we choose to represent us are doing so from a position of strength and, wisdom, not from a place of fear and dominance and ignorance. And I don't care which side you vote for. I don't care who you vote for. It's about protecting our interests as people, period. I don't care if whatever is going on is going on, Okay, so the Venezuela thing. They've been blowing up boats down there. They've been shooting missiles at boats for quite a while. Now they got Maduro in jail. Half the people say he's a saint. Half the people say he's the worst person since fucking Hitler, because of the whole drug thing. And they're taking a lot of the cocaine from Mexico and Colombia, and they're mixing it with the fentanyl from China, and they're pumping it through Mexico into the, like, and then there's oil, the gold. He got voted out he refused to leave. He literally indicted the guy who won. These are the people we follow. Indicting the loser. Indicting the loser. You serious? Like, that's... It just shows where we're at. It just shows where we're at, guys. And I mean, our current power structure isn't that much better. And most of these leaders, most of these power structures, whether they're corrupt or whether they're malignant or malevolent, but they keep us in this state of religious hypocrisy. I know they throw the word God around a lot. That everything is, we're good Christians. We're doing the right thing. We're trying to protect other Christians from all these other bad people around the world. Sometimes I don't even know what to say, just because it's the level of hypocrisy is deeper than the number of people willing to defend it. And that's a pretty big number. I mean, obviously he got voted in. And I'm not just making this one-sided. I think Democrats are all fucking assholes and shit for brains and a bunch of cowards too. So, well, there's so much for me trying to not cuss. But when you break it down, they're two wings of the same bird. I've heard hundreds of people say that. Two wings of the same bird, going to the same destination, picking up the same carcasses. You know, like in all honesty, the path of a leader is a very hard path to walk. It's a very hard path to walk because, you know, you're going to have to make sacrifices. You incur harsher penalties than other people. Well, in an ideal world, leadership now, you can do whatever you want to do and get away with it because morality is subjective. Yeah, morality is subjective. I think sometimes we get hung up on like laws, and 98% of the laws on the books aren't even about morality. They're rules. Rules don't imply morality. So I'm going to put that out there. I'm going to put that out there right quick. Just because you can make people follow a set of rules doesn't make you a moral person. That makes you authoritative. What kind of government has that word in it? You know, a friend of mine, we were having a conversation the other day, and we were talking about pacifying somebody, and you know, whether or not to let people leave people to their own devices or give them what they want, you know, sort of like feeding a crying baby. And he hit me with some heat, and I had to sit back. I leaned back all the way back, and I had to think about it. So I'm paraphrasing, but basically, you know, to pacify somebody is to one way to pacify somebody is to totally neutralize any type of threat they could possibly muster up or create against you. By any means necessary, total domination on that front of that person, mentality wise, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, however you want to put it. So basically, to turn them into a baby and to keep them there. Needless to say, I felt like a baby when he said that, because we've all been pacified at some point or another in our lives, whether or not we're starting to break free of the chains that we've been bound by. At some point, I felt like a baby when he said that, because I was like, the psychology behind the life that I've lived. That's all I can speak on. My experiences, the things that I've learned through my experiences in life, and lessons I've either learned from other people or watched other people go through third person wise. And like, that word hit different. That word hit really different when he said that, pacify. I was like, damn. You know, because we go through these phases in life where we do feel helpless. We do feel helpless and helpless. I think that, yeah, I've felt helpless before, but now that I've gone through the things that I've gone through, that the way he hit that word hits totally different. Like, to pacify, the way I was thinking about it was, you know, to like feed a crying baby. Literally, they call them pacifiers. And I just kind of surface thoughts on those, that, you know, certain things. It's just like, whatever, I'm not really digging. But like, no. Or somebody who's a pacifist. You know, I always say I'm not a violent person, but I'm not a pacifist either. So, I mean, yeah, I understand the concept and everything, but I guess I never really applied that side of the logic to it. So, but yeah, like when he said that, I was like, huh. And the leadership structures know exactly what they need to do to pacify us. They know exactly what they need to do to pacify us. And we take the binky. Maggie Simpson. But the one thing about it is when these leaders fail, when they fail us, their penalties are not harsher than ours. You know, when a leader's people suffer, he suffers with them. Not he should suffer. I don't think we have a leader. We have a president. We have a president, not a leader. You know, a true leader cares for his people and is compassionate. Like I've always said, there's a difference between a leader and a boss. I've had a lot of really good bosses. Can't really say if I elevate any of them to the status of like, yeah, I probably would, you know, no, not really. I'm not even going to say that because I guess that's kind of the response you want to say when you mid sentence think like some of them people might be watching it. Well, I don't care, you know. I liked them as people. I really did. I thought they were cool people. I had a couple of them that were not, but the reason I say they were bosses and not leaders is because they weren't afraid to break the rules for the people that they served. Yeah. Yeah. And yes, I know there are instances when Donald Trump has broken the rules to help the people that he served, but that's a very small group of people. A lot of them are still suffering right along next to my black ass. So that doesn't apply. You know, he doesn't sacrifice them to keep his status intact. He doesn't try to rewrite the rule books in the middle of him being penalized. Like, who are you to criticize? I'm a man with a mouth and some eyes and a spirit inside that does not vibrate in alignment with what's going on right now. You know, that's why. You can say it too. Say what you got to say. Forum is open. You know, a true leader does realize that his authority comes from alignment. Like fear isn't real authority. Fear is not real authority. I don't recognize it. If so, I'd always be telling myself what to do. You know, leaders do more than inspire. You know, we conspire right along with you to break the walls down if we don't want them there. You know, yeah, it's of course the rules are there for a reason. You know, you got to follow protocols. There's certain standards and expectations that need to be met, yada, yada, yada. But that shit changes from time to time. You got to get it real with yourself and say that, all right, well, today's date something needs something else needs to happen. Make it happen. Period. Just make it happen. Is it going to be hard to make it happen? Sometimes, yeah. But when you're obligated to serve the people are the people. And like we were saying, like I said in that other conversation, in that same conversation, the plan is the plan. Batman is a leader. Because not only is he willing to, break you down when you're wrong, he'll build you back up to get you right. There's a lot of things that leaders should bring to a table. Charisma. You gotta be able to speak your mind. You got to be able to feel your heart. You have to be able to connect with people, understand the people that you're serving, understand that you are a servant. But still be bold enough to say, I don't think that's the right thing for you to do. Give them the strength and the space to make the mistakes and still be like, hey man, my bad. It's like, all right, come on, we got you. Let's go. This is what you should have done. There's a lot of things that I learned as a kid from my grandfather. My grandfather was a good leader. He's a good man. Was he perfect? Hell no. I saw him do all kinds of stuff that wasn't really cool. Well, not all kinds of stuff, but being a minister, you see things differently, and you try to see things through the eyes of God. And it's like one thing that I will say that I think he was really in tune with his star player. So yeah, sometimes the best leaders are the most shining examples of what it means to be human, flaws and all. Martin Luther King had mistresses. Malcolm X had other women. The dark forces is always prone to using lust. Take us out. Not too many men on this planet resist for very long. But that's where I get to the point where it's like morality is subjective. Like, I don't care if you're sleeping. That doesn't make you a bad leader. Is your judgment a little cloudy? Yeah, at times, yeah. Well, I mean, you're just like any other person. So say, what's this? Okay, so let's throw this out there. What's the difference between somebody who's married for umpteen years and is the leader of his community, yada yada yada, president, United States, prince, king, prime minister, whoever, but he has a shitty marriage? He never cheats. He treats his kids like they're golden. He's a pillar of his community, but he has a horrible marriage. He's just bad with his wife. Like, okay, so where do you judge that next to a man who is married, does the same thing, but he has an affair or two? Why is that any worse? And that goes back to looking at it from a leader's perspective. Like, isn't that weird? Isn't that kind of weird? What would you expect him to do? Like, what would you expect him to say if he was like, yo, the last president was an asshole to his wife. I treat my wife good. I treat all three of my women good. My kids got their nicest education. They got this, that, the third. What's the problem? And see, that's where y'all get funny. That's where we get funny as people. I ain't gonna put y'all. I'm in there. I get in that category too. I'll throw myself in there. Like that's weird. That's weird. We're going to judge somebody based on the amount of women that he has, not the kind of person that he is. We have weird double standards in this world. Weird. Like, that's weird. That's very weird, people. It's very weird. That's very weird. You know, and then we talk about we want to live, you know, some people who are religious, they want to live on a biblical level. What level of biblical are you talking about? Can you answer that for me? What level of biblical are you talking about? Because there's levels you don't even know. We literally have books missing out of the Bible that most of us read from in this country. So like, what is your really, where does your definition of a leader come from? Who are some of the people you consider leaders? That'll give me a definition of that'll give me a definition of what you think a leader is. The people that represent you. Because a leader represents you. You know, you're scared and you're weak. You can't fight back. You go find that big nigga off in the corner that just got done out the gym and like, hey, this dude over here picking on me, man. I need you to whoop his ass. Here's $100. It's a metaphor. But you know, it's the best leaders to me also understand their followers. You know, they don't always have to make choices based on the hearts and minds of their followers, and you know, but I'm just saying keeping your fingers on the pulse of your people. You know what I mean? Like, and I say this with all sincerity, our government does not have the pulse on its fingers. Its fingers on the pulse, excuse me. Our government does not have its fingers on our pulse. Because our pulse changes too often for them to really get a good read on it, because they don't care enough to take time to check on us frequently. I don't care what the media says. I don't care what the media says. I don't care what social media says. I care what the energy says. And the energy tells me they don't know. They don't know nothing. And it's a sad day in hell because everybody thinks that, well, maybe not everybody thinks, they assume that underneath it all, they're doing the best they can in our best interests. And that there are other places around the world that make it difficult for our leadership to make things happen for us. No. We just got a bunch of snakes in the grass. Get a lawnmower. Get a lawnmower, people. Like, some of these models is out here playing roles, y'all. We got to wake up. Like, when are we? I have my days when I'm not fully capable of responding properly. I get that. Excuse me. But, I know we're only a weekend, so we got 51 left. Let's make them all count. Let's make them all count. And I think it comes down to trust your leadership to do what they're going to do when they've already shown you what they're capable of and what they would rather do. We're at the point in the game, people, where it's too late. What they're going to do is what they're going to do. You know what I mean? Like that's it. It's not changing because their people are suffering as well. If another part of leadership, if your family is suffering, why are you going to go feed somebody else? Why are you going to go feed somebody else? Your family is suffering. You went and fed somebody else. That's the way the cookie crumbles. But we good, though. We good. We good. People are starting to wake up. We're starting to wake up. So, when you see somebody who's awake, don't assume they're arrogant. I get that sometimes. They're like, man, you always got to say what you be saying the way you saying it. Well, some people cuss or do the things that they do in an aggressive fashion because it's a cold world out here. You know what I'm saying? And everything ain't all love and light. If you can't handle a few cuss words, then I don't care about. I think it's funny as hell that he be cussing on TV, and y'all be getting all bent out of shape about it. But it's why they don't want to fuck with America. Thank you. Have a good night, bitches. You might as well just say diversify your funds, nigga. Or you know what I'm saying? But seriously, but nah, for real. Look, and I've been told that before, like, you be cussing a lot. Yeah, so I didn't used to. I'll be honest with you. I still don't cuss around my mom. I'm almost 50 years. I'm 48 years old. Almost 49. I still don't cuss around my mom. But I don't cuss around in certain situations. Like if I'm comfortable, yes, I'm going to say things. But I can also break down things without cursing. And I know I'll be all over the place. But this is what you get when you get me. I'm that crazy friend that everybody likes. Yeah, no, that's it. I'm that crazy friend that everybody likes. That doesn't come out of the house much. I love my friends and they love me back. I love all my followers and I hope they love me back. I have nothing but love for anybody. Even whatever enemies I may have incurred over the years. Anything else, Dad? That's it. Yeah, that's it. So, Leaders are definitely made. We're all born with the capabilities to be a leader, but we're not all leaders. Not everybody can be a leader. Some people don't even know that they're being leaders. They just do what they're supposed to do, and they just end up, and there's a bunch of people behind them, you know? So, yeah. Whew. It's a little bit longer than what I had expected it to be, but I think he got his point across. You know? Choose your leaders carefully. And if you lead, choose your steps carefully. It's a rough world out here, and we need leaders. We need somebody to be that light in the darkness for us, somebody to be that shield to protect us from whatever may be coming to do harm to us. You know what I mean? To the leaders, peace and blessings. To everybody else, the same, peace and blessings. May the universe light your path for you and those you serve.
Armageddon,
It's your boy Shifu.
the awakening,
It's been fun.
the plague.
I'll talk to you when I see you.
George Bush, Martin King, Kanye to the Johnny Cash, Shakespeare, KKK, faking like it's game day. MCs don't come around my way just to say, hey, these cats is like kids on a play date. Messing with the chess master, won't be a stalemate. No air, short breath, slow down your heart rate. Malcolm X, Kennedy, Hitler, the Pope, Nixon, Tupac.